The agriculture sector in the second quarter of 2022 grew by 1.20% year-on-year in real terms, a decrease of 0.10% points from the corresponding period of 2021. The sector contributed 23.24% to overall GDP in real terms in second quarter 2022, lower than the contribution in the second quarter of 2021 and higher than the first quarter of 2022, which stood at 23.78% and 22.36% respectively. The four sub-activities which make up the agricultural sector include crop production, livestock, forestry and fishing. Crop production remained the major driver of the sector. This is evident as it accounts for 91.99% of the overall nominal growth of the sector in the second quarter of 2022. That's the story we're tracking at this hour, and joining me to help make sense of this is Charles Fakroha, a stockbroker and business analyst. He joins us via the telephone. Hello, good to have you join us today. Hello, if you can hear me, Mr. Charles. Okay, so joining us virtually is Charles Fakroha. He's a stockbroker and business analyst, and we are looking at the agriculture sector, which contributed 23.24% to the overall GDP in real terms in the second quarter of 2022. And the question is, what exactly do you think is the biggest challenge with developing the sector, and how can we ensure that this particular sector delivers even much more for us as a people? Hello, if you can hear me, please go on ahead, Mr. Charles.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying, what do you make of agriculture's 23.24% contribution to overall GDP in real terms in the second quarter of 2022?
Thank you very much. We've all recalled that agriculture has been a major thing in the Nigerian economy before the discovery of oil. And it will still continue to play that role if government gives it that more needed attention. Yes, I'm not surprised, but I believe that sector will have done more than what it did, if the attention that is needed is given to it.
All right. Well, still looking at this particular sector, there are those who have said insecurity has significantly hampered food production in the country. But then we hear the Minister of Agriculture begging to differ. According to him, he averred that insecurity has not significantly hampered food production. And he also said that the agro rangers are providing some measure of security on the farms. Do you agree with him?
I will not agree with him 100%. Because, yes, the insecurity affecting food production is usually in the northern parts of the country. Okay, so the agro rangers, yes, they are doing their job. They are trying to create that kind of confidence for the farmers to go to the farm. But I will tell you reliably that persons who have spoken to me concerning these issues, they said, yes, in the hinterland, there is a problem. But close to the urban areas, when you see some farmers, yes, it is safe. But the hinterland is still not safe. And we have majority of the small, older farmers who are in the interior. Security is still an issue. So, yes, the government can improve on that, but the only way they can do it is to ensure that there is security in every part of the country.
All right. Now, talking about food sufficiency really in Nigeria, what do you think is responsible for the fact that we haven't been able to attain that height? What do you think is really responsible for this? Because on the one hand, like I said earlier, there are those who are saying it's insecurity. On the other hand, we have some other persons who are probably alluding to maybe government not doing enough and all of that. What exactly do you think the challenge is really when we look at the agricultural sector in Nigeria, seeing that we have the potential to deliver even much more than what we have now?
Yes, I think the two factors you have raised, government not doing what it's supposed to do, but at the same time, the insecurity. Then, again, how the average Nigerian begin to perceive agricultural activities. Yes, are people encouraged to go and read agriculture in the school? The research institute that we have concerning agriculture, how are they functioning? in the days back, we used to have cocoa representative, oil palm representative, rubber representative. We even have Institute of Tropical Agriculture somewhere in Ibadan. And all these people were working, coming out with the input seedlings, advising the government and the farmers. We also have extension workers that are dealing with the farmers and giving them new techniques in agricultural development. But what do we see today now? There is completely lack of government intervention in certain areas and for our youth to go into agriculture.
Well, speaking of government intervention, the CBN really boasts of its agricultural interventions. It talks about it a lot, and the CBN also said, these interventions are aimed at attaining food self-sufficiency, enhancing value addition, provision of raw materials to manufacturing industries, and also for export. Now, the Apex Bank believes this ultimately assists in diversifying and improving the foreign exchange earnings base of Nigeria's economy. Now, looking at all of this that the central bank has said that their interventions are geared towards achieving, how effective do you think these interventions have been in achieving all these things that I have just mentioned?
Yes, thank you very much for this very good point. I agree with the central bank governor. You can see that he understands the intervention and developmental role the CBN has to play in terms of developing other sectors. And you can see though he was being criticized, but I really appreciated what he did. Not only the agricultural sector, he was also making interventions in other sectors like the health and pharmaceutical sector. But for the agri sector, you can even see him visiting the farmers, going to see their farms and all that, and CBN had representatives that were monitoring some of these interventions. So for the first time, we have seen the CBN coming out with the role of developing other sectors of the economy after maintaining price stability. So yes, CBN has done a lot, but they can still do more, and at the same time, they should improve on their monitoring activities, because that is the only way that will ensure that these interventions will achieve the objective in which they are meant for.
Well, I guess one of the impact of the intervention is the purchase of the presidential ticket for the CBN president. Well, away from that, let's take wheat production as an example. The federal government had, through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the Central Bank of Nigeria, really extended several interventions that range from the provision of thousands of hectares of lands to improved seedlings, and now the African Development Bank's $134 million loan to boost wheat production. Looking at all these things that, all these interventions that get towards production or increasing the production of wheat in Nigeria, what are your expectations?
Yes, I've always said that a country that cannot feed itself is not fit to be a coalition.
I get that. What did you say? A country that cannot what?
Hello?
If you can hear me, I didn't get your first statement. Please say that again, please.
Okay. I said Nigeria has been known to be a country that can feed itself. And if, as of now, or any other country cannot feed itself, then it's not supposed to be a country. And we have the land, a conducive climate, so we don't have any reason not to plant enough food to feed. So I'm optimistic that these interventions for wheat production is going to go a long way to reduce our imports of wheat. The issue of the Russia-Ukraine war that affected wheat production in Nigeria, we have over 30 in the country that can produce wheat. But I will also agree that the metric tons that they produce is not enough to meet our local demand. So it is in those areas that we need how to increase production, where I think the CBN has come in now.
Right.
It's an issue of doing what to do, and of course the government is aware of what to do.
But Mr.
The land is there. The climate is there. So we can see that with this intervention, we can increase wheat production and any other crop or any other agricultural activity we want to do.
All right,
Is it
Mr. Charles,
in
I think
fishing?
this is a good
Is it
place
in
to end
forestry
this.
or livestock?
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Mr. Charles.
Thank you for having me.